Well, hello there, hello there, hello there. This is Dennis, and I'm coming to you live from a very unusual storm. This particular storm finds me at a very different elevation, more on the foot of the mountain, to be precise, lower in the thousands of feet. The storm is quite unique. It is producing such a pleasant experience on the feeling body for me. It's not quite wanting to turn into snow because it's between snow and water. It's more of a feeling. The raindrops are soft. The rain is not driving. It's comfortable and it's easy. I feel at ease and I feel at one. This particular tape will probably be one of the lowest ones made in elevation because it dealt with feelings, and so within the feeling body I wanted to make sure I had everything right for this tape. This is the October tape in the series of Stepping into Consciousness. And this one is designed to touch on the work that I'm now beginning to experience and portray out into the field. It's a feeling of sensualness. It is a feeling of love, of harmony, a peace that flows through my heart, a state of knowing that is quite gentle. It's a simple piece of material, and so I'm simply going to take time to now share it with you. We as man are developing a feeling body that is quite like anything else. It is becoming a time in our history when man is starting to wake up to the fact that he does have other bodies and that they are capable of bringing him at more of an at-one-ment with the Creator. You see, as we've been going and as we've been learning throughout these 2 years worth of series, I've been talking a lot about the physical stuff and getting the physical brain and the mentality geared up for its understanding of God, how God works, some ideas in space, how these things all work together in conjunction, producing different linear concepts so that we as an individual could begin to at least fathom in our mind some sort of an idea of God, something that most of us have never really taken the time to put into some sort of a concrete thing. And yet, God as a non-concrete essence leaves that creation kind of unique. As we grow, we then begin to see that as our awareness or our consciousness begins to expand, our interpretation of God and what it is and how we could attain it begins to expand. Our attainment of this divinity is linear until finally a lot of the concepts are like, well, God is just a concept. I got to keep getting past this. This is just kind of an intellectual thing. I'm not really sure. And then what happens is that we step into the feeling body. We make grand discoveries on the feeling body. Some of the discoveries that we make on the feeling body are those that it has density. Just like the feeling body, or not the feeling body, I'm sorry, but just like the physical body has density, the feeling body also does too. Now, on the physical body, let's just take a couple of simple things. We have things that are like solid, like heavy metals, and then we have things that aren't quite as solid, like wood, for instance. And then within the wood, we discover that there are different types of wood. We have hardwoods and softwoods. We have hardwood like oak, and yet it isn't nowhere near as hard as steel. But it is a lot harder, this oak, than is cedar or redwood. because these particular woods have more space, more fiber, different forms of construction, and the woods are softer. And yet they're all fairly solid, and yet there are different degrees within their solidity. Then we have liquid. Liquid's different than a solid. A solid will sink in certain liquids, but also liquids have different densities. You know, like mercury is a very, very, very heavy liquid, and you will find that it can keep many solid things afloat. We have water as a liquid. We have helium can be placed in as different forms of liquid. We have all different forms of liquid that also can become lighter as they go towards the gaseous state. And then in the gas state we have another physical form. We have different types of gases with different types of densities. The point that I'm trying to make is that there are different densities within the physical plane. Let's just say solid, liquid, gas. Now let's go to the physical body. The physical, or the feeling body. The feeling body, that was the physical body we just did. The feeling body is sort of like, it has the same components within itself. In other words, I've taken the words emotions, using the denser emotions like hatred, anger, jealousy, criticism, blame. And those are sort of like the solids. Do you know what I mean? Like from steel. Steel would be, hatred, anger. And then into, say, hardwoods like oak, and you would have blame, jealousies. And then you would go into the softer woods, and yet still solids, like the cedars, and you would have evaluations, minor judgments, things that still are, but like things like little white lies. Okay. But yet, basically, in the feeling body, these heavier emotions, which are, hatred, anger, jealousies, despisement, they're like the metal or the hardwoods or the softwoods in the case of, different forms of judgments. Then, like on the feeling bodies, we go into different forms of feelings. Feelings that we've managed to learn to hold, like things like empathy, sympathy, words that are not as critical and therefore are not dense and solid. They're more, say, fluid, like different forms of liquids, say as water or mercury or helium or any of the liquids that there are, heavy water, things of that nature. And these feelings of sympathy, empathy are sort of like that liquid, see, within the feeling body. And then, as the liquids blend with the higher elements, or just so too in the feeling bodies, we have peace, joy, and love. Now, here we have much finer feelings. Our feeling body is capable of experiencing all of these feelings, just like our physical body is capable of experiencing liquid, solid, air. We also know that we can bring these things into harmony. We can bring them into such a peace that we are not making judgments on a liquid or a solid or a gas. We also have fire and heat, other things, other elements that are on the physical plane. We also have these elements on the feeling body. In the feeling body, we can bring the elements of criticisms and hatred, which are the denser, empathy and sympathy in the middle, and loving, peace for the more subtler things, justice, terms that we can bring into balance by not judging the feeling body. If we learn to stop judging criticisms and hatred, we would learn that from lack of judgment we wouldn't necessarily have to go into blame. And so, by looking at the feeling body, we can begin working the feeling body and seeing that we can stay out of judgment within the feeling body also. and how that by staying out of judgment in the feeling body, it brings us up to more unconditional love, peace within oneself, a loving understanding within the harmony of that body, like we would bring a harmony within the physical structure. Then after we have those harmonies, we bring together these two bodies, and as these bodies begin to work and correlate in harmony together, like two individuals who each have different ideas, a third body is formed, just like with these two individuals. They put out thoughts and ideas, and between their two thoughts and ideas, they create a harmony or a blend of the ideas together where they can take their thoughts that they've put together and make a third thought. Just like when the feeling body and the physical body begin to come together, they begin to put that third body together, or that spiritual, or that divine connection. Three bodies, the Trinity. Now, as we begin to look at this Trinity and we see how these bodies interlock together, the feeling body, which we haven't spent a whole lot of time in, is basically becoming the point of reference of which I now choose to work with. By developing the feeling body, we begin to pull ourselves more into present time than ever before. See, in the feeling body, we will begin to create feelings of what godness is, feelings of what the divinity is. Feeling has the body, and it has a knowingness behind it that is unlike the intellect that runs the brain. The feeling body is a body unto itself that doesn't do or follow the laws that the intellect would think it should be doing. The feeling body goes along how it feels in that moment in time and expresses that state clearly. When we can bring that state in harmony with the physical, linear, what begins to happen is that we as a wholeness begin to realize, now you know the statement that metaphysicians make that the past, the present, and future are all simultaneous? Well, to understand what I'm saying is that when the feeling body and the physical body are both in present time, the feeling body begins to perceive things that are going to happen in a futuristic path or a futuristic event. And by staying in present time, the feeling body gets a feeling or a state of knowingness or a precognition of something that is coming up in the future based on what it is feeling in the present time. It also, because of its sense of feeling, knows when things or cycles are complete in the present moment, but it also knows that it is completing past events in the present moment because it has used the feeling body to calculate and to understand events based on feeling. Therefore, when the physicalness is also in present time in conjunction with the feeling body, the intellectual mind has a state of knowingness or wisdom and can perceive facts as they are laid out for futuristic events, so that the physical mind can actually then see how the universal mind is producing its creative ability through itself to manifest on the physical plane. We then, as a physical linear mind, have the ability to see our expression within the totality. We then have the ability to see our wholeness in present time and feel all of the events from the past, in the present, and in the future, knowing literally how the past was completed, how the present actually holds the future and the past, and how futuristic events are shaped in the future by being in present time and linearly watching all of these things by the experiential sense of the feeling body and blend with the consciousness, which is that third person presented by the linear mind and the feeling essence, to create a combined essence of sensual knowingness within the consciousness through the feeling of all things within the refinement and knowing that all is one and that all is whole. and that within all things wholeness and unconditional love reign supreme. Now, that was a real mouthful for me to say, so it should be something that is kind of felt and sensed and paid attention to within kind of a knowing. The material that I just gave out is quite excellent because it shows the interrelationship between two bodies and how the third is really created, in which knowledge and wisdom, by staying in present time, is the end result on how the past, the present, and the future simultaneously can be literally understood and through knowingness and wisdom felt and sensed, and yet total accuracy within the picture should be the end result, and also the human being's ability to love all things without any condition. In other words, perceiving God within all without any limits on anything. Should just be the end manifestation. This is what we are working for, the freedom to allow the consciousness to accelerate to a space unique within itself to touch the limitless bounds of a knowingness that goes beyond the confinement of the linear mind and the feeling body, and yet using both of those vehicles to get the total experience of the knowingness that comes to you by being within direct contact of your God self, the limitless freedom that you have and still be able to experience on the physical plane and the feeling plane within those grosser bodies, the totality of oneness, where the fact that you are God is so completely within the atonement of the one that is experiencing it that you are not lost within the abyss of all that there is. Oh, boy, there seems to be a feeling of poeticness within what it is that I feel and experience. As I put this tape out, there is a cleanliness of integrity within the feelings of the words that I'm putting out, because I have, through my physical intent, by directing the meditation into the innerness of the feeling body, I have been able to, I feel within this tape, project a true sense of feeling from me into this tape rather than an intellectual aspect of me, because I am so excited with the work and the experimentation of our feelingness, which is allowing us to be a little cleaner from the grosser avenue of the physical linear self. Not that one is any greater than or less than, but there does seem to be more of a perpetual cleaner flow as the feeling body begins to have realizations as to why it has no beginning and no end, and how all of this works in a synchronistic format that the physical mind can understand as it sees the feeling body just perceive all things from the past and the present and into the future, and yet so simultaneously that knowledge and wisdom is locked on the physical plane, so that every moment in time that it lives, it can say to itself, oh, I've been seeing how this has been coming to pass. Oh, I see right now how this is being created for the future. And oh, wow, so this is the way the Godhead and as myself creates the pictures and the creations that I put out into the world, so that I can perpetually extend myself as an eternal being. And I also see how this crystallizes into the physical structure based on the feelings, and yet how that intuitiveness can accelerate by light, the enhancement of the crystal form all the way down onto the physical plane, so that the actual structure of the man himself will change within the total and complete understanding of the divinity, to allow man to become the being of light, the expression of that which the expression of that which it has sought out within itself, to know that it is truly the divinity of the higher self that can emanate a quality of light completely through all of the structures by eliminating restrictions on the physical plane that says, I cannot do these things because I am man and man must follow these rules. Man must drop these restrictions and say, I am human. I am God and man, and within my growth I am beginning to spread the light. And within my understanding of myself, in my knowingness of the physical and my feeling towards my feelingness, I am commanding my will to take those denser forms of which I had been holding on to in the past, and not surrender them, but see that there's lighter things for me, and more joy, and more peace within the clearer and pristine look, as I look through things of a feeling, of a harmony, of a blending of oneness, as it reaches through to bring in the divine higher self, to express with those still silent words from within the beauty, the soliloquy of the divineness, as it takes what the feeling body is feeling, and it takes what the intellect is expressing, and it takes the creative power that is in all things and blends these things together and says, wow, I see that between those bodies you are perceiving me, the divine one that you are, that I exist within you, that you are I, and that we are together as one, so that we can blend and love all things as one, and blend in the existence, and love ourselves, and stop the hatred that is creating the denser form, and yet still having all of these things within the oneness, within the creating seed, within the atom, ATOM, the Adamic seed, ADAM, Adamic seed, the physical, the spiritual, the feeling, the man that is nothing but the hologram of the original crystal, of the totality of all that there is. This is who you are. This is what you are. You are the feeling, you are the physical, you are the composite of these two as they bridge to make the knowledge of both join together and interlock a third, the complete, the divine, the intermarriage of man, his feelings, his male, his female, his blending of the two to bring together the oneness, the omnipresence of divinity, the one thing that we are, the balance of all. Sometimes we hear the left half of the body is female and the right half of the body is male. Sometimes we hear that the physical form is female and the spiritual form or the feeling body is male. The body being created from the planet, of course, would be the female aspect. The male aspect would be the spirit it would be placed in, or the feelings. And yet they can all be interblended together. The female can mean male, and the male can mean female. And yet, why does man choose to always make distinction? Why doesn't it allow all to become one? The male, the female, the physical form, the spiritual form. Let them all blend to be more than just man and woman. Let it blend to be all. Let it blend to be more than the physical and the feeling. Let it bend to be more. Let it blend to be the spirit. Let the left and the right join together as in one. Let the right and the left and the feeling join together as one. Let them all join together and become omnipresent and whole within the one. This is our goal, and it is the understanding of the feeling body that we now begin to put forward so that you can feel what I'm saying rather than hearing the words and just putting into some linear concept. Feel what we're saying. Feel what we're sensing. Feel the passion that arouses, the desire that moves, to understand the feelings that are. Let us then begin to take a look at this feeling body and how it begins to work for us. Seeing as how we have so many different forms, let us just mind think for a while. Compassion, fear, love, empathy, sympathy, wonderment, acceleration, enhancement, beauty, at one-ment, anger, holiness, devotion, jealousy, faith, hope. These are feelings. These are things that go beyond what the mind can actually put labels on based on denseness. It can understand denseness within feelings. It will also know which one feels better than another. It doesn't have to have a physical test. It can just have its state of knowingness, its state of intuitiveness, its state where it can put together feelings that the linear mind can only use through experiences. Experiences and experimentation with the feeling body is one of those things that we need to play around with. Let us take a look at this feeling body. Can our feelings actually enhance our healing? Can laughter, can sadness, can joy, can revenge actually enhance the physical structure? Or can it actually tear apart that physical structure? And the answer to that is that it can. We need to be aware of what the feeling body can actually do to that physical body. Well, tape's kind of running out here, so let's kind of zoom over to the other side, and I'll continue there. Ah, yes. Here we are. Can our feeling body actually help the healing of the physical? Can such things such as fear, anxiety, tear down the healing effect of our body? Can joy, can laughter, can these things enhance our physical structure? Well, we begin to finding out that these are actually true things. We're beginning to find out that by using the feeling body, we're able to get deeper insights into how the feeling bodies actually work.